Yeah,
yeah.
I guess it's because I don't know.
I guess I get. To me, I feel like I'm centered. I'm more centered when that occurs.
Well, I
So
feel like if you can always if you got the ability to get the extra sleep no matter what, don't make no difference. You know what I mean?
well, yeah, that's it.
I mean, I guess when you gotta go work a job somewhere and you want the extra day because you gotta go, I understand that. I know.
Mhm.
Well, tonight's show, a couple of was it last week, they came out with the jobs report talking about uh how it gained 6.2 jobs in the economy and all this stuff. My question is to all that, what economy are they talking about? Okay. We was losing almost the same amount of jobs or more when COVID hit, you know, unemployment was probably at 25% or more. And now they're saying they gained 6.2. So that's only still up maybe it's still about 14% and other. But the biggest problem is our economy still bases the economy still bases its stuff on jobs. Okay. And that's the biggest problem. They never talk about the home-based business arena. And that's what I'm just gonna say it, be blunt. That's what saved the global economy. I'm not gonna say just the US, but the global economy would have been tanked if it wasn't for e-commerce. What is e-commerce? E-commerce is electronic commerce. Commerce is where goods and services were distributed um, through electronic distribution. Just think if we were in the era of 1918, they didn't have e-commerce. They didn't have no kind of technologies. I don't even know, did they have the phone then? I don't know. But my whole point being is that when we talk about economies, what's working, what's not, and I've always said this, that uh, COVID was a blessing and probably a blessing and a curse for me in some ways. It didn't affect me economically, really. But what it affected was that there was a lot of people that I know who lost family members, lost a friend that lived in Rio over this. Everybody was affected some way with this pandemic and still going or still are being affected.
Mhm.
But what we got to start understanding is that it has changed what was changing anyway to become a realization in our economy. See, everybody wants to say, oh, we're ready to get back to the way we were. No, that ain't happening. We need to let that go. What's your thoughts on that, Kent?
Well, like you, I've had folks who were directly affected by this. I've had a high school, or well, not a high school friend, but a neighbor, a neighbor of our families where we grew up together, who had who had passed uh, who had passed from COVID.
Mhm.
I've had a couple. I have a couple of relatives who who've had it, and so far for the most part have recovered. They're still um, a couple are still dealing with it, and they're getting it through. But it's a long haul. Myself personally, and my immediate family, uh, no, we have not been directly affected by COVID itself, but the impact, you know, just as we were talking about, you don't, you're not in corporate America. I'm still in it, and yeah, this time, not almost well to the day, we were getting ready. Let's see. We were getting ready, even though we didn't know until the day before. The company was making preparations for us to work from home this time last year.
Okay.
And we didn't start working from home officially until March 19th or March 18th.
Which is coming up.
Yeah, which is coming up.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a good thing that you had the availability to do that. You know, I know a lot of people that are not able to do that, and that's, you know, it's bad in one way, but sometimes I think people need to be very proactive in understanding what changes are going on in the economy. And that's why I said the electronic commerce has been around for over 20-something years, and it's not going away. And especially, and I've said this before, with this pandemic, with this COVID thing, it legitimized everything that I said that we do as a legitimate way of business. You know, you had a lot of people. I remember the time when, you know, when I went to school online. That's been, 17 years ago, 2003, 2004.
Okay.
I went to an interview and I told them where I went to school. You know, they have a brick and mortar called campus, American Intercontinental University, AIU. And he looked at me like I had 3 heads and 4 noses or whatever, because I told him I got my degree all online. You know, back then, the online thing wasn't, you know, the thing everybody, and they never really looked at online stuff as legitimate. Let's be honest with you. You know, you were just getting with the Facebook type of deal, and that was mainly connected towards the high school, you know, high school and college sec. I don't even know if there was even a Twitter then.
Well,
go ahead.
And it's amazing that you say that, because I can remember growing up where non-traditional college courses were talked about. I mean, they what was the term back then? Correspondence.
Yeah, you do it by correspondence. Well, yeah, I was still away, not, you know, it wasn't in the class.
Right.
And they probably talked about that too, but when this time of technology, video conferencing and stuff came out, and even when I went to school, they didn't have the video conferencing thing at all. Only person that had that was the teacher. Now I know everybody's heard of that software Camtasia. When I first was exposed to Camtasia, that was through AIU and online.
Right.
Nobody else had that except for the teachers. Now, I'm not sure if it was all we could see is the text that she didn't hear the voice. I don't ever remember ever seeing her video wise. So we didn't have, that was never a thing that was done. Now with all that stuff, and we've said that how video is so important to your marketing aspects, because you can hear people and see how they are and their inflections and emotions. It's a very lucrative, very vital part of what you do as far as online marketer, affiliate market, any business, you know, today. We're not going to go back to the days of what we used to do. Even if they open it up to that, there's going to be very few people are going to want to do that. And if they do, they may have a place that is smaller, and you might, in your office, may meet once a week. What I just hear was at Target. Just closed about one of them, I don't know if it was Target. Somebody just closed a bunch of their offices, and like what Nationwide did, they changed their business model to online.
Oh, you might be right. I'm not sure who it was, but
I just heard it, and I can't remember who it said. But they, you know, those are the signs that we're in a new age of technology. We're more in a legitimate time. What I've been saying, all this video conferencing stuff has been legitimized. Anybody that walk around here say you can't build a network marketing business by using this technology, they need to just wake up or go back to sleep for good or something. I don't know what to tell them. I mean, really, it's being done. It's doing it. There's been more people that have moved their business. If it wasn't for this video conference, most of y'all's network marketing platforms teams will be out of business. You couldn't sustain it. You couldn't sustain it because if you were only doing it from the standpoint of what you used to, hotel meetings, house meetings, ain't nobody going to your house like that. Ain't nobody want to be crowded up in no hotel. Ain't nobody was going to events. All those things were canceled. Okay. Right. All the events went virtual. If you couldn't do that, right now, I said this 10 years ago. If you wanted everybody to come, so why don't you have both virtual and in-person events? You had the technology then. You still make the same amount of money. You might even make more. Now, Mother Nature or man's screw up has forced you to have to recognize the legitimacy of video conferencing and how we can build businesses virtually online without having to be all up in somebody's face and everything. It's a done deal, people. There's nothing you can say. I don't give a who, where, what level you are in the platform of your network. I don't care if you're a trillion, billion, zillion, and you still got that attitude. You can go somewhere. COVID has proven to us what can be done and what doesn't need to be done. And we are in a different economy. I hear the term gig economy. Now, I don't know what that stuff means, but that's not, we've been in a performance-based economy for 15 years or more. I don't know if that's another term they're throwing out there now, a gig economy, like freelancing. Well, that's been around. It's just that with this COVID thing, it's made it more having to do gig economy. I guess with all the delivery services and Kroger's and all these people delivering, I don't know. But they've been doing that. That's not nothing new. The marketplace, Giant Eagle over here in Bexley had that before the COVID. When they opened up over there in Bexley, they had delivery to the curb. See, a lot of this stuff was not new. It was in place. It may have not been something noticeable, but when COVID hit, man, that made that more legitimate. It ain't funny. And now, why should anybody go back to the way we used to do? Why? I mean, especially if you don't have to, it don't make any sense to. I mean, they are trying to open up. It's still run off at the mouth. Well, we got to open up the schools. Why do you need to open up the schools? The only reason I can see that you need to open up the schools is that you're tired of taking care of your kids. I mean, what do you think about that, Kent? I mean, it's just people are a trip when it comes to stuff like this.
I have to say for myself, I'm glad my guys are grown.
Well, yeah, okay, yours is grown. Yours is grown. But you know what? Now we're going to have to worry about like what happened last year. We've come into this thing with all the vaccine. Oh, by the way, I got my first vaccine on Friday. This past Friday, I got no sign. I mean, it was a little bit achy, but not really that much. Sure. But no side effects. I had no side effects whatsoever. Neither did my mom.
Oh, that's great.
She goes again to get her second dose on this Friday. I go back on the 2nd of April to get my second dose. And that's the same day. We got to get up early and take the little motherfucker to get snipped the same day. So that's going to be a busy day for me. We got to do that. Take him to get neutered on the 2nd. That's Easter weekend. So there's a lot of things going to be going on. I got an email from a friend about, the vaccine, and she's I know some friends of mine are not taking the vaccine for one reason or another. Neighbor across the street said he wasn't taking it. Well, he said he had allergies, but I think it's more than that. And we've talked about this before. I don't know why the Black community are so wanting to connect the Tuskegee thing with this thing. There is no comparison. There's not there. This thing has affected everybody. The Tuskegee, I don't know why the messaging has not got out better. The Tuskegee was deliberately marketed towards Black males and females. That's all it was. This is not done that way. So why do they keep on legitimizing the concerns in the Black community as if this whole vaccine thing is the same or connected like the Tuskegee? It has nothing to do with that.
Not at all.
You know,
Not at all.
and
Yeah.
that's what's wrong. We got a bunch of people in our own communities that don't read. It's like, what was it? I don't know how much a friend this is gonna be. You know, you got a lot of people on here are talking about who should take credit for the vaccines. I said the people who created them. That's who take credit for it, really. But you know, there people want to be political and say who from what party should be credited. Well, in actuality, none of the people should be credited. It's the people who get the vaccines in the population, in the arms of the population. And that's the current administration, not the former one. The former one was politicizing it, snuck behind everybody's back before they went out of office, and then took the vaccine, but then was talking around no need to wear a mask. You know, it was just, I don't know, people.
Okay.
You got to look at things for what they are.
Well, someone just someone just stated, and thank you for responding. They stated that their thing is, okay, that's great. You know, a vaccine for COVID has come up, but how come there hasn't been a vaccine that's been generated for cancer? Now, obviously, there's different sex of cancer, breast cancer.
What are you talking about? What cancer? Well, if you look, there has been a vaccine for cancer. The vaccine for cancer was developed in Europe in the 1930s. You got to do your research. Now, there are different forms of cancer, like Kent just said. What type of cancer are you talking about? Okay, there are little vaccines that even now they got for different types of cancer. Like they're trying to fade away from the chemo type thing. Okay, my point is that when you got a situation that happened here, okay, and this is where people got to understand something. There's been other technologies that come out with this. They've been working on coronavirus for 17 years, since 2003. Okay, there's different forms of cancer. There are different coronaviruses out there. This one popped up. Now, one of the things I do not believe that this thing happened naturally. I've been saying that for a long. I do not believe that it happened through what they call a zoonosis situation. I just don't. Okay. I don't buy that either. I just don't buy that situation. You know, there's going to be some things that come out at the end. They've had people over in China trying to find out where there's actually then they still want to run that scenario. I said that's BS. I'll call BS on that. There's a lot of different things they got. You know, granted. In fact, what did I just hear? They're working on some things that where they can get rid of these viruses, right? There's not, because there's a woman took a book on it, how to destroy viruses without creating vaccines. All right. They had mentioned they had a vaccine that helped kill sickle cell anemia. Okay, I hadn't heard about that. So just because you don't hear about something don't mean it's not happening. And there's other means of why things are happening. It's just like when we go talk about how to make money. Okay, we got to get out and know. I'm gonna say this again: the Black community, the brown community, always seem to be late when it comes to how to do something, because we buy into we buy into things that don't serve us, or if they're outdated, and we don't recognize it for that. And one of the biggest things me and Kent try to do is teach us to give you information why you should be looking right now. COVID, and like I said, COVID legitimized any type of business from home. You got, a lot of y'all walking around with one of these, okay? You're walking around with one of these, and all y'all know how to do is play games and talk about who or show booty things and twerking, all that mess. Nobody really wants to see that. Now y'all need to keep that in the community, in your own niche people. You got $1 million tool in your hand right now. Most of y'all don't know how to do nothing with it because you use it the wrong way. It's just like who's this, Dr. Lynn Robinson? She was talking about how most people are going to use their $1,400 check and blow it on stuff they shouldn't blow it on. He said you shouldn't take all that money. You need to learn to invest some money. Okay, you can't get mad at the people who take advantage of tax codes. They've been around here 30, 40 years. If you go and blow it on paying all your bills, or blow it on inessentials and non-asset type of things, you're gonna be back to square one the way you were, or worse, before this happened. And most of the time, you're gonna have to think in a critical, what am I gonna do with this money? Besides having, maybe I need to pay this bill, but don't throw all your money into bills, people. Don't do it. Put that money so it works for you. I wouldn't even put it in the bank. Put it somewhere. There's too much info online to not find out. And it basically is that people being lazy. Now, everybody sitting there probably tuning in on the Grammys. The Grammys have changed. Everything, you can see everything has changed. If you look, if you look back in 2002, 2001, 2002, we're in the same kind of situation after 9/11. Okay, it pushed back all the shows. Granted, we weren't locked down because of a virus, but we were under let's put it there, we was under a DEFCON situation because we didn't know what.
We didn't know
what was going to happen.
Yeah, so when the other shoe was.
We had to secure borders. We had to secure air. We had to secure a lot of things. There was no traveling overseas or anybody coming in here like we got now. Not because of viral things, because of enemy threats. And
I don't know if you remember, but they stopped all major sports for I believe it was 2 weeks during that time.
I thought it was a little longer than that because everything got pushed back. The Super Bowl got pushed back.
Yeah.
But the Super Bowl used to be in January. It got pushed back to February and stuff. The Academy Awards
ever since.
The Academy Awards used to be, I remember, in April. It got brought up some. The Grammys got brought up. It used to be sometime what it is now. And all these things have been moved around because of the disruption that happened in our shores. Okay. Granted, they didn't shut down the economy for a year. The economy was shut down because of threats that we've had. But they've never taken the time to say, okay, we need to secure this, that, and the other thing. And if you look at that same scenario back then, Bush was in the same downward spin popularity wise as what Trump was, even though Trump was even more unpopular at the time that we had the COVID. So it's always been, and you just gotta look at history, it's always been on the GOP's time when some major shit just happened. And we don't know a lot. There's a lot of things we don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know, but there's a lot of things we do know that we don't want to address. And we've talked about it before. And we gotta understand that we need to stop wanting to go back to 2019 era thing. Forget it. 2019's gone. Okay? Ain't nobody gonna see 2019. None of these generations is the next crop of generations. Okay? That's gonna be 1,000 years from now. Nobody's gonna see that here. So we might as well move on, and the economy is gonna be different. The economy's already different. You can see it now. Okay, like I got to I'm being interviewed tomorrow. It's called a backstory interview. As a local person here, I think it's gonna be on a Zoom call. I don't know this person from a can of spit. Okay. They just want to interview. I said, okay, whatever. But that's where we're at as far as what's happening in the marketplace. I wanted to show this. Let me go here. See if I got okay, let me go here. Okay. I had put this together last week. It'll come up though.
Yep, there it is.
Okay, but I haven't. Where's? Okay. This is the problem with most of y'all. It's going to always be the problem with most people in our economy. It's going to be the problem with most people. And we've talked about this before also. Why is this not coming up here? This is the issue with the working class. Okay. If you have a job, you got no leverage. Not even when it comes to money. You got no leverage whatsoever. What is leverage? Leverage is being able to do more with less and accomplish more with less. In other words, with leverage, let's call this leverage. The internet is leverage. It's able to get your information to more people in less time. Jobs don't have leverage because once you leave a job, you stop making money, okay? Business people, when they do, well, let's see, when you go to a job, if you're on this side of the quadrant, this is, if you're familiar with Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, you'll understand this is where most people pay most of the taxes, okay? The money that you give people that ain't got the 1,400 grand is not, I'm not gonna say that they're not gonna tax it. They might not tax it immediately, but I bet they're gonna tax it. You guys got to understand something. You get taxed when you got a job. You pay the highest taxes, and it's not that it's a broken system. The system is set up deliberately to do this. Okay, the people that the self-employed people, we could have been considered, especially in network marketing. Contrary to you want to believe, you guys are really kind of self-employed. You pay less taxes than a job owner or job worker, but as a network marketer, you are a rep, but you don't work for those people. So you consider self-employed, okay? Now, from this standpoint, a business owner, this is what makes you a business owner versus a rep. When you own a system and people work for you through that system, or you have a system that you can leverage that makes money for you while you sleep, that's leverage. Most business owners and investors work from a standpoint of leverage, always leverage. The internet has given us leverage because of the many people we can talk to without having to be in a hotel meeting. Okay, I can talk to people across the ocean, which I have. I talked to somebody in Spain. I'm sitting here in my room, in my house in Columbus, Ohio. So that's leverage. Okay, this is where you want to be at. You always want to be looking for somebody to leverage. This is what keeps the working class broke, especially here. When you up here on the left side as a job, you're gonna stay broke because you got no leverage. Once you leave the job, the income stops. There's no leverage there. Okay, this is where here and here is where the residual comes from. That's leverage, people. Working or making money while you sleep. Okay, this is what we gotta look at too. This is the one thing I see us always trying to stress. We always try to stress, especially Black males, NFL. Okay, NFL income, probably not now because of COVID, makes $9.5 billion. Okay, the whole industry. Mm-hmm. How much does the players get out of that? You know, you may have some people make 32 million or whatever a contract. That's still a drop in the bucket with this. Right.
Because I think the league, the average player, and this is not, we're not talking about your Tom Brady's, we're not talking about your Peyton Manning's or your Larry Fitzgerald. We're talking about your run-of-the-mill average player. Their salary is $3,000.
$3,000.
I'm sorry, $300,000. $300,000. Yeah, average salary. And top this, the contract is not guaranteed. Unlike baseball and basketball, NFL contracts are not guaranteed.
Okay, 300,000 out of 9.5 billion that's generated in that whole industry. Mm-hmm. That's a drop of the bucket. The music industry, 16.5 billion. Your top artists in that industry, yeah, they garner a couple mil. I don't know what the average is in that either. But point being is, most people don't even get in the average thing in these industries. This industry, now your video gaming, if you got there's a lot of money to be made there. But there's certain talents you have to even, $67 billion. These are all $1 billion industry. The movie industry. If the movie industry, I was in that. The movie industry is very tricky because if you're not in some kind of union or whatever, that's cut out access. Organic products. Okay. Now we see what we kind of specialize out of all the industries. Look what makes most money. Network marketing. 167 billion in the industry. Okay, the biggest difference is that what are you doing to generate those? Because we always say too, a lot of network marketers are reps, they're not business owners. Okay. Mm-hmm. But we always say too, home-based business in America. They said there's now this is, let's see, where are these averages coming from? Okay, there's 38 million home-based business in the US. Okay. Home-based business has started every 12 seconds, they say. It's actually now the home-based business right here through this chart not sure when this was, is a $427 billion industry now. Over 70% of Americans worldwide prefer to be self-employed. Okay. So the beauty of this is, let's look at something else here. Let me go. Look what the investment you're going to have to do versus a home-based business. You can get in for an investment of maybe $75 to $100 or more. And a lot of people will look at it and say, well, that's not a real best business if that's all it takes. Well, it doesn't matter what the investment is. It matters what you put into that to get what you want out of that investment. Now, most of y'all, these are top franchises. This is a thing out of 2011. Hampton Hotels, startup costs between 3 million and 13. AM PM, 1 million to 7 million. McDonald's, 1,057,000 to 1,885,000. 7-Up franchise, 30,000 to 604,000. Supercuts, you've been seeing those around, 112,000 to 243. Days in. You understand what I'm saying? There's a Subway, 84. Denny's. A lot of these places that I went with a friend of mine about 5 or 6 years ago. She wanted to go into something that was comparable to Subway. You had, before they even considered you, they're saying Subway right here is 84,000. You had to have that in the bank, people, before they even considered you as a franchisee. This is why you need to have a home-based business, because most average working people can't afford this. And if you could, you're gonna work your ass 24/7. And I've mentioned this also before, that you put that much investment in. I didn't get into anything to be a business owner just to work my ass off. I got into it for a lifestyle. Whatever lifestyle that is to you, I don't know. This is what we wanted to talk about when we're talking about that $15 raise thing they're talking about with the government. The wage gap, which is probably be 25 to 30 years behind. They say the average rent in the US, this is 2018, that's only 3 years ago, is $14.19 a month. The average rent. They're talking about the average rent. For rent to be approximately 1/4 of an income as recommended, that means you, to survive, I guess, you have to have 1/4 of your income go to rent, will require you an income of $5,676. We calculated $15 an hour is only $1,200 a month, people. I think that's what it was. If you're talking about 1,014, you still can't pay no rent on the average, not at $15 an hour. So if you gotta be making at least 5 at $14.19 a month, okay? The 40-hour per week, that means $15 an hour ain't gonna work. You're almost $17 in the hole. The average work week, the average an hour pay would have to be $35.47 an hour to cover your rent. Okay? Federal income tax minimum wage is currently $7.25. So they're gonna what? They're gonna raise your wage another $7 to $8 more to 15, and it doesn't cover this. Okay, and they're saying non-tipped employees or tipped employees only make $2 and stuff. Get the hell out of here. $15 ain't gonna cover shit. We can argue the fact, well, why right there shows you. That's a 2018 article. And this is why you need this to survive in this world today. you got residual bills. Why not have residual income? Residual bills means that you don't call the electric company telling you want electric this month. You pay if you want electric this month. The water bill, you don't call them and tell them you want the water bill on. You got to pay that bill. Other words, if you don't pay that bill, they cut that shit off. Okay, that's what residual. They send you a bill when it's due, pay it, or they get cut off. That's why you need residual income, because most of the jobs, if you go, hey, like Kent is working from home, but he's still at a job. He ain't on the clock. Once he gets off that clock, his income from that job stops.
Right.
Okay, that's why he's has another business to subsidize that income, because it doesn't move. You don't have no income when you go home or when you're off the clock. So this is why you need something else, and you don't need this. This is why you don't need a second job, because a second job only what happened, you'll start paying more taxes. On this side of the quadrant, you're going to pay more taxes than anybody here. Okay, another job is just more tax they take out of your paycheck.
Right.
So another job is not going to cover.
And
what
Lord,
this is.
don't let that second job push you into another income bracket, because you guys know you can forget about a return.
Yeah, and if you don't have a business, which you get write-offs of having a business, that helps. From that will put you in the bracket where these people have tax shelters on this side. Okay, and a lot of y'all gonna understand that. This is why this don't mean nothing. At $15 an hour, that's 25 to 30 years behind the 8-ball, which they should have been, according to this article. The hourly wage right now, $40 a week, 40 per week, should be 35.47, or even higher. If you're trying to pay a 1419 monthly mortgage or whatever, and you're talking about a quarter of your income, you're $15 an hour is only 28,000 a year, folks. That's not gonna make it. Not according to this. And most of these places that we, New York, LA, Chicago, they don't have, it's expensive. You can't survive at $15 an hour. And you hear people say, well, it will take them out of poverty. Who's it gonna take out of poverty? And then they're not gonna give it to you right off. You're talking about you're here at 7, but they're gonna trickle down $15 over a 5-year period, where you still are subjected to taxes over here. That's where they don't want you to think about. They don't tell you about that, and that's what we're here to tell you. This trickle down economy shit, and this is coming too from the Democrats. It's not just a Republican thing. This is a whole political thing. They're going to trickle down 5-year period of this type of stuff, and then they didn't even pass it any damn way. So in a way, you're better off just starting a home-based business, of what me and Kent can help you with. You don't need to be struggling with another job, and then they're going to trickle down $15 an hour over a 5-year period that they didn't pass any damn way. Doesn't make any sense. What are your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, it's and I've discussed this with you, when my daughter had said, a couple of years back, when she was going to, she was to that point where she made enough money that, Dad, can you not claim me on this year's taxes? Of course, I was a little heartbroken because she's not 26 yet. So, but I was like, okay, since you're not in school and you're starting to make your own money now, okay, I will do that. So,
you know what you could have done? me to interrupt, but
Uh-huh.
Dr. Lynn Richardson said this too. See, this is where you could have still claimed her, but as another way, you could have had her doing some stuff in your business.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
claiming her as what she's saying, but is this as an employee?
Yeah. Yeah. If I would have paid her some, and I caught that. Of course, me always doing it one day too late or what have you.
Well,
You know.
this is why
But
people have family businesses.
right.
Well,
Right.
family businesses, there's a tax advantage in that.
Right.
That's the tax code.
And with my write-offs, I was still instead of on the IRS, I was able, it
Yeah,
wasn't obviously it wasn't a refund that I had
but
before, but
it's still there. It's better than owing
yeah,
them.
yeah, and I didn't know, so
Well,
so
there's an article a friend that sold me talks about why are we paying income tax for stuff that they already took out and send it to the IRS, and why are we claiming something that's already they know?
yeah, they know,
So what's the sense in filing an income tax for the information that they got already?
right?
Your
So
employer has sent it to the IRS. So
right,
what do we need to file any damn thing? They even sent the W-2 to you and
hmm
to the people at the IRS. So what's the need in us doing it again? And how are you legit? It even said in the Constitution, there is nowhere said on the Constitution that we need to file an income tax.
no,
Basically, they're saying,
that didn't come until the Lincoln administration.
yeah, but they're saying that's not even legit there. And in the scheme of things, that the government is stealing the money of their people.
hmm
You know, um, I just heard earlier today that who was it? I don't know if it was somebody was talking about they had proposed a bill a few years ago for infrastructure, and they presented it to I don't know Congress or somebody, whatever. I don't remember who it was. It was Bernie Sanders or somebody else, and they said that this is what came about with this Green New Deal. I said, okay, why couldn't the Green New Deal been implemented within the infrastructure pop bill that you already had? See, both of them really just tripping over themselves. If they truly wanted to work together, they could have done this. But there's always somebody saying something. It's just now we got the political thing is that this bill of this 1.9 trillion is too high, but yet the other party sent that same thing in tax cuts to the former administration did that to their
Right,
cohorts.
right,
Okay, so
right.
it's like anything. When people say they don't have money to do this, that's a cry. You have money to direct what you think is value and important to you. It ain't got nothing to do with money. Time is a bullshit excuse also. I hear people say. People say, I don't have time to do this because no, it's the same thing with how you direct money.
hmm
Once you find something of value that you want to change in your life, you'll find the time, just like you'll find the money. Until people make up their mind that this is valuable, they'll find the money. Until that doesn't happen, emotionally, you won't do shit. Me and Kent can sit here and give you the goose who laid the golden egg. If you don't find it valuable, you ain't gonna do nothing. But you can't complain about something if you don't make a move with it. And that's the same argument people now on the same token. what people are going to do about all these red states talking about stopping this, the suppression of voting rights. My thing is, what are you suppressing voting rights in a presidential election that we do not vote in anyway? We don't vote for the candidate. So what's the use of the suppression? What are you suppressing from a standpoint of a candidate that we don't directly vote for? The only thing that's a suppressing is through your local and city and government state elections. That's the only thing you're suppressing. The presidential election is kind of stupid to even try to do that. But until you change how we vote, until they change how we vote in this country, especially through the presidential election, the suppression part of that's bullshit. It's stupid on their part. And it's stupid on a student put on both sides to argue the fact that, well, you're saying you're suppressing it because more black and brown people, women came out to vote, especially in this election, this past 2020. Okay, but like I said, look what we had to go through. We had the intersection violence on January 2nd over certifying Joe Biden's election. If the people had the voice to vote this man in, there wouldn't have been no need in all this shit. There wouldn't have been no need in them violence and saying, oh, why do you need to certify if it's the people's vote? Then you turn around and say, we got to have the electoral college do this in December, yada, yada time. And then we got to do another certification. Why is there so much fucking red tape that you say that me, you, and everybody else had a say so in the damn election? It's a crock of shit. We either have a say so or we don't. We fucking don't. There's no, you don't fight over something that you know you don't have a say so over. See, this is the argument I've had with a lot of people over the years. And right now, this past year showed how stupid everything that we do in this country. We're the only supposedly westernized, civilized country that votes like that. We don't have a say so to vote. I get tired, not in that presidential one. I'm making that clear. I'm talking about the presidential one. I'm not talking about your local. Even though a lot of y'all say local election set up for the presidential. Well, it really, that don't mean nothing if you don't vote for it. I mean, you know what I mean? If you're saying this vote, this local, state, city, whatever, helps for the presidential, it doesn't, if we don't have that candidate directly vote for it, it don't matter what the fuck you do there. That's like saying that, okay, I have a distribution line that's going to go from Columbus to so-and-so and somebody hijacks or direction somewhere. It's supposed to start there to go there. Well, if it don't directly go there and get higher, what's the use of starting there if it's not getting there in the first place? I mean, let's be real common sense about this, people. I think we get so comfortable in the dogma of this country and life that we try to give legitimacy to what everybody's saying. And we need to question them. We need to question both parties. That's why I say I don't really consider myself a Democrat. I sure as fuck ain't no damn GOP. They're a bunch of idiots. Okay. But I'm of the notion of common sense things. Okay. And just like I try to tell this friend of mine, she trying to say, well, Trump, we should give Trump credit for the vaccine. In what fucking way? You had 500 and something now, 13 people that have died in this country. Why the fuck I'm gonna give credit to somebody basically killed 513,000 people or 513 million people? Huh? Give me a fucking reason why. That's like giving credit to Hitler for killing, well, he did kill 600 million Jews and say, well, he freed it, but he killed 600. That doesn't make sense. And, you know, I don't, even if they're trying to do their whole misdirection don't make sense if that's what they're trying to do. It's amazing how people have short memories about stuff. 2015, June, he comes down an escalator and basically said Mexicans aren't this, Mexicans are that, certain other people are this and that and the other thing. And you still vote for him? And you still, 700 million people still voted for Trump in 2020? The biggest problem in this country is that we try to play this role that we all this and that, and really ain't. Is that COVID has brought out the inadequacies of this country that they try to hide over 50 years. It's brought out the bigotry, the power structural racism, all that stuff. That's what COVID exposed. Now that it has exposed it, now they're trying to put the genie back in the bottle. You can't do that. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. We already know who you bigots are. See, the biggest problem with a lot of things I try to tell folks, I don't know, there was a big discussion on the talk last week with Cheryl and what's her name?
Oh, yeah.
And I think
I have to say I have to give it up to Cheryl Underwood for keeping her composure, because I know so many sisters that Chicago would have came out and it would have been
the biggest. It was over that whole interview, and Pierce, that guy who has a show in Britain. The biggest mistake Ozzy's wife made when she started talking about the Royals. Most of us know what the Royals were set up for. The Royals were set up to, that whole structure is about the have and the have-nots. And it's based off of racism. See, one of the things I want to get people to understand something. Racism is not an individual act. It has no power as an individual act. The individual act of people, like we've had these women calling out on these black guys in New York, bird watching, or saying that they're barbecuing in their backyard or whatever. White female, not saying all, but let's understand this. When you have a group of people, okay, it's a group of people, this is done deliberately, that control power, resources, money, economics, all that stuff. They have the recourse to do what the fuck they want because of laws and stuff that they manage. When you have another group of people that are put at an underclass situation that don't have a say-so because of laws, controlling resources and everything, they're at an underclass, and the other majority, let's say the white majority, has done this purposely to the black and brown folks, especially black. There's no way that the sub-underclass or the underclass has a recourse to be racist to the white majority that controls resources. Racism is not an asset for them because the white majority has the power behind them. Even if it's an individual, a white woman is put on a pedestal, a lot of them, if they act right, okay? Because women in general been vilified also, but white women have been put on a pedestal, okay, to be this and that. And when she yells this and wrong, we can say that, we can show the same thing with this thing with the mayor now, okay, of New York, okay? Anytime you gotta come out when a group of people, a group or a person that I don't condone any mistreating of anybody, but always gonna be my problem is when these women come out after the fact 2, 3 years, or when they're in some kind of prominent position, that everybody want to come out of the woodwork and say shit. I always and always will, I'm probably gonna catch flack with this, have a problem with that situation. What was wrong with you when the situation happened to say something then? It's always been the same crazy situation, and we do nothing about it because we let them, and it's usually, as I said, the ones that been put on them pedestals, okay, come out and say something. Now you got a man who's of Italian, in all aspects, Italians, if you look at the history, they in our space, okay? You know what I'm talking about though, don't you, Ken?
Oh yeah.
And if
Oh,
you're
yeah.
civilian, you know what I'm talking about. Okay? This is where, you know, they may be labeled as white, but if you look at their history, enough said. Okay, enough said. All right, because the Italians were vilified when they came through Ellis Island, just like anybody else. That's why they had Little Italy and all that, the Asians and all that other stuff. It's just that the difference between them and black people, we didn't ask to come here. Well, some of them didn't ask to come here. When you ain't asked to come here, then you expect us to do this and play your bullshit game. After a while, they're gonna say, man, fuck this. I might as well just, if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna dice a lot of y'all and take y'all with me. Okay? That's what the whole thing about that show, The Warrior, that was on Cinemax was about. The try and the Tom. Okay? I'm not. No, you're not. No, you're not. And we got, and this is where this whole system has been set up for a certain group of people to flourish and the other ones to struggle. And this is why we got this whole divide in this country now, ever since we had Barack Hussein Obama as a 2-term black man in the White House. Okay? They have not gotten over that. We had a 2-term black man put together a healthcare system for all. They have never gotten it. You have every gringo president that's come through that White House couldn't do it. Now they're mad at Biden because he was on that black man's team. So that's another problem's going to happen because of that. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just, I'm just seeing it as I see it and telling it as I see it. That's where we're at. And there's a lot of people that don't want to admit that. It's not trying to be guilty, but what the biggest problem with white folks and some of y'all is that you won't look at that as that. You want to always use the cop-out thing as a, well, you're trying to white shame us. I'm not trying to white shame you nothing. We're just talking about history. We're talking about all the history that's going on in this country has been on the side of you guys. Those guys. Until you understand that, we're not saying it's you personally, but when you vilify it and don't understand that and don't have empathy on that, that's when we're going to have a problem. Ain't nobody trying to tell you we should give us anything, but you got to understand why some black folks and brown people act the way they do.
Right.
I can get more nasty about it and say, look, some of y'all act like y'all descendants from the people in Europe that was crawling around in the floors of France, Italy, some of them places where the Moors had to help you clean up. Because for you to open up Texas and all these other states when we got variant ass viruses still walking around here and you act like it ain't happening, there's something messed up in your mindset. You either are fucked up in the head or you just want to see other people die. Just no two ways of looking at that. Because it doesn't make any sense when you know that. You know, there are some people, I'm glad they got some sense that we are not going by what that governor talks. We're going to keep doing this until we get either herd immunity or get rid of this thing. And then now we got to worry about all these dumb shits that are down in spring break down in Florida and Miami. We're going to have the same problem we had last year. They bring that shit back to their parents. I tell them to go quarantine their ass. You know what they need? They need to open up Ellis Island or Guantanamo Bay or something and throw them fools in them places that are doing that shit. Because we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. People going down to Florida, not masked up, all up in people's faces. Look, ain't nobody trying to go through all this shit. Y'all gonna fuck up our summer again.
I mean, it's like, folks, you know, and I'm speaking to those who are, you know, who are against the mask mandates and everything. I'm like, it's almost like, or it's just like, you know, when you getting in your car, putting on a seatbelt. And a lot of us for a long time, until it was mandatory, did not wear a seatbelt.
You know, yeah, I know. And you know what that all stems from?
And I was one of those folks. It took me the longest time to you know, just strap on a belt when I was in
see,
but once I committed to doing it.
You know what it is?
I did it.
Your I don't want to say generation, but the kids that came out of school probably around your time that versus mine, when we took driver's ed, and I don't know if you saw these films.
Yeah. That was mandatory. Yes.
Traffic accidents on the freeway where these people got jacked up, not wearing seatbelts or doing messed up things. I mean, they showed this guy, they were pulling out of the car. He looked like a rag doll. He was all fucked up. Now, I don't know. Did you see those kind of films? Taking drivers?
Oh, yeah. That was,
so I don't,
that was mandatory.
You know, there's just a group of people think that that can't happen to them, I guess. That's the problem. And it's the same thing that I had an argument really with another friend, a female, black. Well, she's black, but she on hour. She like, well, I'm tired of wearing masks. I said, yeah, I'm tired of wearing masks too. But it ain't just about you. You could be a carrier and spread it to other people, your mother, whoever. That's the problem that people don't want to understand, that it's not all about your ass. It's about what you can be carrying. It's the same shit when I worked at Time Warner when H1N1 was going around. We didn't know what it was, and people were all sick and stuff. And those weren't. I said, and I stood up. I don't know if you. I said, I wish you motherfuckers would go home. You sick as hell. You spread everywhere.
I don't think I was there.
Oh yeah, I said.
I don't think I was there yet.
Yeah, you might have been gone. No, you were there. You were gone.
That's right. I worked on the early afternoon.
But this was like, I said, y'all spreading all these germs. You too worried about, or they're gonna dock me. Where I rather die. What would you rather have? Be doctor taking you to funeral home? I said, you guys worry about the dumb. This is a fucking part-time job. You ain't making no money as it is. And you're gonna worry about cause they dock you. Everybody, if everybody's sick, ain't gonna be nobody here. I mean, there was a lot of people that were. I mean, it's the same damn situation then that we're dealing with now with this COVID, and it's even worse. And they're saying these variants are even more susceptible to spread and more dangerous, and they still having all this damn, and it's bad to say it, but it's always a majority of white kids. I remember my mom was talking about when they were growing up, they couldn't play or go to the public pools because I guess it was polio or something was going on that time. And all the white kids were getting that polio stuff because they were in the those public pools. Black kids couldn't do that. They're the only ones that was getting that disease because Black kids weren't allowed in it. So that's see, Mother Nature, karma has a way and get back at your ass. You start putting all these laws, Jim Crow laws and all that, down the line, it's gonna come back and fuck you. And that's what it did. All that kind of stuff. I know we got a little off the track, but it's not a little off the track. When I talk about stuff like this, because I realize how all this stuff is connected and how all this has affected everybody through business, everything.
Oh, yeah.
That's the problem with most of y'all don't understand that. You think it's all different things and everything's interconnected. We always hear this thing that we're all in this together. Well, if we all in this together, all this is affecting us in all these aspects. Okay. Ain't just because of, well, that was there. No, it's affecting all of us. And it's gonna come a time. They ain't gonna make no difference what laws you put up. Because people are gonna get tired. History has always proven that mess. Look at it, read history and stuff. Things don't let nobody stays in power forever. And this is what the biggest problem is going on everywhere in the United States, from policies to political to the law enforcement. They recognize that they're losing their power.
Mm-hmm.
And to tell them that they're losing their power is even more so. To show that they're losing their power is a slap in the face. And that's what's going on. It's like a kid acting out when you tell him he can't do something, he used to doing anything he want to do. Where's that cat? Oh, man. That's what all this is about. You get down to the basic things, and people want, and you know, some people want to be right because they know they're wrong. And people who there's people who say, well, you know, my family is this way, but I said, if you can't have it both ways, people, I don't care how you're trying to slice it. If you support policies of this GOP, you are a bigot. You can't support, it's like saying somebody's half pregnant. Ain't no half pregnant. You either are pregnant or you're not. I mean, I don't get people. Everybody want to have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. You come to me talking about you are this person. You have every right to be that, but you just don't have a right to be that around me. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm ever saying. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, what to think, and how. But you just ain't got no right when it comes around me. You ain't got it. You ain't got even a right to be on my page when it comes at. I don't want to see it. You have a right to your opinion, and opinions are like assholes. Everybody got one. Right? You know, so, you know, I'm just looking to see what's, they've been talking about this stimulus check all weekend. So,
yes.
You know, you get it when you get it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm say I was lucky, but that's not my end all be all. Yes, am I happy that I received it? Of course. I mean, who not happy be getting you know, $1,400, and some, with kids, some it's going to be more than that, you know. But I would say, like I forget her name, was it Dr. Lynn was saying, you want to be judicious, and because this is not gift money. It's something for you on how to be prudent with it, and on how to invest, whether it be investing in your business, whether it be investing in or investing in something, you know, that is going to benefit you long term. I think, and Greg thinks, that, you know, investing in your own business in your own home-based business would be the best way to go.
If you want to get out of the trenches of all this being risk to be infected, that's the only way to do it. I just
Right.
see, so somebody you're not connected to just commented on your public post, you can always change this, okay, or whatever. My question was, you know, they keep saying that this $1.9 trillion thing was law. What I don't know if I wonder if you can go online. I probably can. What part of this that's going to be, my question is, what part of this bill is going to be a law kind of bill? And that's what I want to know, because I thought it was just a more or less trying to help stimulate the economy or whatever. But they're advertising it out there everywhere as a law. It was written into law. It's not like when they were trying to have the Affordable Care Act that was made into law. This is a whole lot of different things.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that, and maybe with them going out on this field trip, there'll be more to that. But that part about it being written in the law, I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% certain on. Yeah, it was signed in the law because, you know, the bill passed, and it was just going to be a law for the stimulus to get going. But I don't know how, you know,
I know, but when
any far-reaching, you know, long-term implications.
Usually in the connotation, when you say law into law, is something that's
going to be permanent.
Permanent, right? And that's why I'm saying none of this was like a permanent. It's like that was like saying like, okay, when they had the $15 wage increase, that would have been a law into law, but that didn't pass. So I'm trying to think what else in this bill besides the 14 stimulus check.
I know.
That's just a one-time thing.
Right. Now part of this, and I am happy about this, that Black farmers are going to get their debts canceled.
Yeah, because Trump helped the corporate farmers out.
Yeah.
Do nothing for the Black farmers. Well, you know, everybody was arguing about that mess. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just wondering who this person is that I'm not connected with. That means if I'm not connected with, we get a reach.
Well, and it looks like it was when I told you it was the person who had asked that question. It looks like it was my ex's sister, who had brought in that question, that we answered about the COVID.
It's one of your connections on your page.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why. Okay, I understand. That's cool. So, but see, this is what teamwork is. When you have a business, this is another thing. Building business teams means building stuff together, working. You can have separate, but the whole thing in a lot of the network marketing is about team building. Until we start understanding all that kind of stuff, it's hard to do things. I mean, each individuals have your business, but when you deal stuff as a team, that's a part of having leverage. Remember I talked about leverage earlier when I showed you in that PowerPoint? Well, the leveraging part that we got in the network marketing industry now is when people work together using technology as the ultimate leverage. See, I would have never got that reach without Kent's reaching out or posting out too. So that's a double leverage factor right there. And that's one of the things you got to understand when you're doing stuff like this. It's about that kind of stuff. And you know, Black folks gonna have to learn to work together that way, because we can't afford to be all this other mess that we try to do. You just can't afford to do it. Black and brown people.
Yes, indeed.
You wonder why the Chinese ride or Mexicans ride 5 in a Volkswagen, whatever. What they're trying to work together, trying to save stuff. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but you know, right now, you can do that without having to be uncomfortable because of we got technological leverage today. Okay, we've been on here. Wow, hour and a half.
Hey, we
For the,
had to fill the cup, bro.
yeah, for the first Sunday of daylight saving time, I hope we covered a lot of different things that gives you some insight of what we're about, or to help you, or something to think about on tonight's show. Like I said, I've been doing this since 2016. Been doing this setup with Zoom about a year. So we just decided it was working well. So we just decided to keep on doing it. And what works, you keep doing. And then you find ways to improve upon it. What is going on? The talk on hiatus amid CBS after Sharon Osbourne on air Pierce Morgan debate.
Yeah, I had a feeling. I'm like, they're gonna come down on her for that, because the way she talked to Sherilyn, that was wrong.
Well, she was saying what did she do that was so racist? Well, for one, when you mentioned how you were a royal, right here, how are you a royal? I thought royals were people who, like, part of that system. You were born in that,
right? Part of that.
You're just a celebrity. You ain't I mean, you know. So that right there, I think, got her into trouble. That's what got her into trouble when she made that, like, well, who gives a fuck?
Exactly.
I never listened to no Ozzy Osbourne music, no way.
Well,
I wasn't into that.
I did like a couple of the songs, but I never knew of his wife until.
Well, but I didn't know. I mean,
had that reality show,
but not his wife either. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if this is the talk is on hiatus.
Ooh.
I think that I almost think that show's about done too.
Yeah. Well, it was, and it's not, and from what I understand, and not that because either I've been working or whatever. When Holly Robinson and Leah Remini were on,
right,
they say, both of them say, that Sharon Osbourne was the reason they're no longer on the show.
Right, I know. That's what she said. She said Sharon Osbourne called Holly Robinson Pete ghetto, and after she said that, she was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So this may be something they're investigating because it goes back some ways, and then with Julie Chen leaving because of what her husband did.
Oh yeah.
The whole show's probably gonna be done.
Yeah.
It may not even get renewed next year. Because of the situation that happened. I'm thinking too. The other show on Channel 6 that comes on.
Oh, The View.
The View. It may have been running its course too. It's just that Meghan McCain, she gets into this high horse about certain things that really have no relevance, really.
Right.
It's just because you get these GOP people get all into this thing about stuff, and I say it stems back to, like I've been saying, it's a whole different breed of folks' mindset. And that's what it is. We want to call it, and I'm not in, and like I said, I'm not in agreement with this thing that's happening to Cuomo either. Because you do things, you take care of things now. I think everybody, every time somebody gets in power or whatever, and you didn't do squat, With Trump, we had way more. And then you had him on tape saying, I'm gonna grab a woman by the pussy. Nothing about that.
Nothing.
Nothing. But you're gonna crucify Cuomo because he may ask this woman about whatever, she had a boyfriend, and Trump deliberately got him on tape talking about, I'm gonna grab him by the pussy. That's what he said. And y'all said nothing really about that. Did nothing, but you're gonna crucify Cuomo. Get the fuck out of here with this shit. That's bullshit. There's a double standards. And they're talking about, well, nobody like Cuomo. Who the hell like Trump? Why, because Trump's a billionaire? Y'all like him? That just tell me how much full of shit a lot of y'all are. I don't know. Too many double standards. That's why politics, nope. No, not a profession I would get into. Any more thoughts, criticisms, talk that you got anything to say? Can't when we end this?
Well, guys, we appreciate, and once again, Chris, thanks for your question there. And as Greg and I have stated many times before, we enjoy people engaging in our conversations. We wish more of y'all would do. We wish more of y'all would do that. You know, that's what we're here for. I mean, it's about us, but it really isn't about us. It really
if y'all would engage, if y'all would get into the Zoom room, we can engage with you better. I always say within the Zoom room, if you register for this webinar on Sundays, there on the page, there's a download that you can get for free. I always leave some gifts there that you get, but you got to engage in the page. I'm not gonna post it on Facebook. If you want, there's some things that you could use for your business or whatever. Is in the registration page. Quit worrying about you don't want to be on somebody's email list. You're already on a bunch of people. If you don't like the email list, you always cancel it. It's not like you got to pay anything, but if you like the information that we talk about, and if you want the gifts that we leave, you got to go, you got to register for this. I'm not putting them on Facebook, people. I'll put the link to register for, but I'm not putting the downloads on Facebook. It's not for everybody. We pick and choose who we want in our space. We pick and choose who we want to work with. Everybody is not for us. This is the whole thing about attraction marketing. We want to control who we want to work with and to say no to those we don't. Everybody ain't for this. We realize that. And that's fine. Because it takes too much work to try to convince anybody to do anything.
There it is. There it is.
Okay. What's that thing? A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion.
Same opinion still.
And I'm not trying to convince you of anything as the truth. That's the truth of as we see them and as we have been presented to them. We're just trying to give you some insight about a lot of different things that are going on. Take it or leave it. That's all I can say. Take it or leave it. With that being said, I hope you got value. We're going to leave you like I always say this. Like I said, I got an interview with this guy tomorrow. I don't know how this is going to go, but I'll let you know.
All right. So good luck to you.
Les Brown, he always says, Sunday's a stressful night for a lot of you because you hate your job and your heart attack rate goes up between now and Monday morning. And it's still doing that because even if you're working from home, you got a boss that one of the reasons why I quit job. I don't like anybody looking over my shoulder. I don't like anybody micromanaging me. I'm not going to ask somebody permission to take care of my family that I have been presented with before. Not doing it. Not at 62 years old, not at 34, at 54, not at no time. I am not going to ask you no permission. I'm telling you, I'm not going to do it. You don't control shit here with me. I don't give a shit if you're $100 trillion company. If I gotta go take some care to take care of family, I'm going. I'm not asking you permission. I'll let you know, but I'm not asking you permission. Okay, that's why I'm unhireable in that aspect because you want somebody that has to ask you permission. I ain't the one. today, and I ain't the one. With that being said, my name is Greg Smith,
This
Kent
is Kent
Roberson.
Yep,
We'll see you next time, 8 o'clock. We're
8 o'clock.
now.
I'll remember next time.
Yeah, since this is spring forward, probably by June we'll be coming on between 8:30 and 9. That the time will be longer then. It'll be really true Sunset Sunday. That's what this whole thing is based on. That being said, peace, people. Take care.
Stay safe, everybody.
Stay safe. If you're able to get your vaccine, get your vaccine. When have you registered for that, Kent, yet?
You know, Amel just gave me the link of as to where I can get on the, you know, get my place in line, so to speak. So
Yeah, just go register on there. So I went to the fairgrounds. You can get it and don't have to even get out your car. They'll give it to you in the car.
All
right. So I thought I had sent you a thing on that.
No, but no, I'm cool. Amel gave me a link, so.
Okay. All right, people. Like I said, go get your vaccine so we can get off of this shit. People, peace. We're out of here.
Take care, everybody.